You guys are tuned into another amazing episode of the Online Trainer Show. This is where I ask somebody what episode we're on because I never know. What, it's 13?
13. Yep. We're teenagers.
Oh, like we're teenagers. Oh my gosh. We are such teenagers. We're the worst. So we've got a great topic for you today. We're gonna talk about the difference between a mentor, a coach, and a course. So we're gonna let Jonathan Goodman wax poetic about that. You know, I saw something disturbing that I've never mentioned this, to other humans, except the humans that were there. But I wanted to share this with you guys because for those out there listening, everybody on this podcast has children. They've all procreated except for me. If you listen to more than one episode of the podcast, it's no secret to you as why I have not procreated. But everybody in here has a kid except for me. I'm too much of a loose cannon. So here's something that I saw that my cousin had.
That's sexual?
And we'll circle back to that. Here's something, I was at my cousin's house this past Thanksgiving, pre-COVID, so it was okay. You could do that then. And she had a bag of her children's teeth. Now, is this something that people do? Because I'm not clued into the whole parenthood thing. But when you bring out a bag, Carol's going to get the bag of her children's teeth.
Look, see, now one right here.
I'm disturbed by this.
She lost it.
I am so disturbed by this fact.
Right
There are things that you don't know when you're not a parent, and I've never known. And then my other cousin chimes in.
Wait,
yes, I have all of
anybody listening. Len told this story. None of us knew he was going to tell this story. And Carolina reached above her computer and picked up a tooth from her child.
Well, we hope it's from her child.
Yeah, that's what we hope.
Yes,
she
totally.
does. Carolina does run vermin runs rampant through her home. So we hope it's not a fox. But I was so disturbed by this fact that a human would keep teeth from another human in a bag. And the first question I asked my cousin was, okay, what do you do with it now? Like, when is it the appropriate family time that you don't say, hey, let's go through the photo albums. You don't say, let's play Pictionary. You say, hey, let's get the kids' teeth out and talk about them. Like, Jonathan, is this something that you guys plan on doing?
Everything about this is super weird, and we have never kept a tooth.
Amber? No, she's shaking her head.
No, that's gross. But there are people that have keepsake, like dolls or like wood boxes, and they put the teeth in the right spot in the box and like display it. It's very disturbing.
Jesus.
Super weird.
Wow.
PT Distinction gives you your very own branded software. It saves you hours every week and get your clients even better results. Again, the topic today is the difference between a mentor, a coach, and a course. And Jonathan Goodman has prefaced this by saying, I've got a lot to say about that today. So it's going to be a doozy today. Don't keep your children's teeth. And if you do, don't tell people. And if you tell people, don't show the tooth on the podcast. Visual props don't work, and it freaks out the rest of the hosts. Talking to you, Keto. So, Jonathan, I think you can you take us out of whatever this is now?
Hello, my name is Jonathan Goodman, and welcome to the Online Trainer Show. Today's episode 13, and apparently Len has completely given up on any sort of reasonable transition to the advertisements. In addition, we're going to be talking about the difference between courses, business coaching, and mentorships. Thanks for being here.
This is the Online Trainer Show, Trainer Show, Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show. We shouldn't have a podcast. Jingle, jingle.
You've totally given up, haven't you, Len?
I'm not even trying at this point.
You tried so hard for like 3 episodes, and you nailed it. You nailed it once or twice. You really had good ones once or twice.
Yeah,
but you've just given up.
Yeah, well, like as you say so appropriately every episode, we've already got the money from PT Distinction. I mean, they can't get it back. It was a wire transfer. And as I routinely say, they should change their logo to a lollipop because they're suckers. Keto, I saw some interesting news on. This is our in-field correspondent, Carolina Belmontes. For those that don't know,
God.
I saw some interesting news this weekend about a mashup, a hybrid. Jonathan talked about the hybrid program on one of our previous episodes, but there's a hybrid cereal mashup, and it blew my mind.
Yes.
And the Jedi Mayor was so excited about this. I think he found it. Did he discover this hybrid?
Yes, we were grocery shopping and he turns and he's like, oh my God. And there's a cereal box and it's like, what are they called? Cinnamon Crunch?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And they are churro flavored. And for those of you who don't know, churros are like the ultimate Mexican dessert treat. They are amazing. And if you've never tried one, your life has yet begun to be
They're the
like,
best.
it's just, yeah, they're just the best.
So is my best introduction to churros through General Mills and their Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal?
Absolutely
No?
not.
Okay,
All
right.
You know
I need
why?
to go for the real deal.
That was an entire conversation we had at the store. We were standing there and I'm like, I feel like I'm betraying my culture. I can't buy this. This is not actually Mexican. And he's like, let's just give it a try. And I'm like, I don't know if I should. Okay, fine, let's buy it. And then it was delicious.
You know what it is? I don't think anybody should buy, General Mills. I don't think anybody should buy it. And I have often bought churros here in Canada at restaurants, and I've always been disappointed.
Yeah,
Really?
it's not the same.
Where we live in the winters for a few months is a little pueblo Mexico called Sayulita in Mexico. And it is the most spectacular place. We love it. And we spend a couple months there every winter. And there's a Churro Man. And what's the song for the Churro Man again, Ren?
What's he got? That's the guy? What?
No, what's the song? What's the Churro Man
Do
song?
you know the Churro Man? The
Oh,
Churro
yeah, that's right.
Man,
You know the Churro Man. The Churro Man. The Churro Man. Yes, I know the Churro Man who lives in, Jonathan's
Sayulita.
backyard, apparently.
Who
Yes,
lives in
Sayulita.
The
Sayulita.
Churro Man, let me paint you a picture. So the Churro Man sits in front of the baseball field or stands in front of the baseball field, and he always comes out at night. And he has a cart, like you would have like a hot dog cart. And
He doesn't have a van,
majority-
and he's not like, "Do you want candy, children?" No, that's not
No,
the guy you want.
He's like a legit dude. He's like everything that you picture stereotypically, like of an aging Mexican man with a big belly and a thick black beard. Like whatever you're picturing is exactly what he looks like. So he's in front of the baseball field every single night. And it's always on either a walk home or like we went to golf cart when we're there because you drive around this town in golf carts. And so to give you an idea of how churros are made for those people who don't know, basically they have this twist tube, like where you put like icing sugar on a cupcake or something like that.
Yeah, like for
Like
decorating
a giant
pastries.
one of those things, and of just dough, and then a huge vat of bubbling oil.
Super safe. It's super safe.
It is
Like your
not
children
safe
should
at
run around it. Like that's what we do. That's how Mexican children grow up. I don't know.
Buddy's right arm. This is like a hairy guy. Like his right arm has no hair on it. That's how you know it's good. Like if you get churros and the person serving it to you has arm hair, you're like, nah, I don't want it. Like send it back because you know that it's not real. It's like if the guy doesn't just tell you off. When you walk in, you're like, no, like I don't want this. Like you have to be angry to serve this food, right? And so if the guy is arm hair, you don't want it.
Right.
And so
he must have the 3rd-degree burn going.
100%. And so he basically like pipettes all of this dough and into a circle in the bubbling oil, and then they pull it out with tongs, put it on a dish that is just like an inch of sugar
And cinnamon.
and a little bit of cinnamon, and like toss it over a few times, cut it up, give it to you in a brown paper bag, and you walk home and this dough just like melts in your mouth.
It's fried dough deliciousness. Amazing. Yes.
Magical.
Magical. Shout out to General Mills for taking 3 days worth of sugar and turning it into a sugarier cereal.
Exactly.
General Mills, you're the real winners here. They're keeping us employed by selling this churro cereal. Jonathan's gone fuzzy, or either I'm blacking out. I don't know which one's happening. It was only a matter of time. So and this is in your local grocer, Ghetto. The churro
here in Barrie, Ontario, Canada. This exists.
Hotbed of churro
Apparently, yes. And yes, it is absolutely a betrayal to my culture because that's appropriation, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, are the funds going back to the Mexican people who create? No, they're not. It's just cereal.
No, I don't think that there were any Mexicans involved in Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
The mayor
No.
was so excited about this cereal. We gotta have him on the show. Like, if you guys, out there in podcast land, if you guys want to hear the Jedi mayor on the show, I'm starting a campaign right now.
Oh God.
Hashtag Jedi Trainer Show. Hashtag Jedi Trainer Show. You throw that hashtag out there if you guys want the mayor on the show. We're gonna get him right here. We're gonna talk about churros. We're gonna talk about South Carolina and North Carolina because he's interested in that. We're gonna talk about Keto and her personality quirks. She's been bitten in the butt by goose. We heard that earlier today. That was off camera.
And geese have teeth because we were talking about teeth.
Yeah.
How did we come full circle to the teeth?
Yeah,
no, geese can bite, and you don't want to get like Canada geese will head check you.
Really,
you get close to them,
They're just awful.
They will knock you out. Like, keep your kids away from geese.
And the Churro Man. Keep your kids away from the geese, and please keep them away from the Churro Man. But not from the Jedi mayor because we like him. We like him. So hashtag Jedi Trainer Show. Let's get that hashtag trending. We'll get the mayor on here in a few episodes, and we'll really get down to the nitty gritty of the creaks and crevices, the dark corners of Keto's mind will be explored by us and the Jedi mayor. We'll keep Keto off the show. She will not be on the show. We'll take her place.
So that I'm not there like
we're gonna get the real
him.
deal.
Yeah.
We get the real deal. Jonathan, we have a topic today. Mentors, coaches, and courses. I guess we need to talk about that today. We're already long in the show. Amber's giving me the look. So if there's a difference between those three things, I'll let you take it away. I'm not even gonna set it up because I know you're gonna do the opposite of what I ask anyway.
I'm not going to do the opposite necessarily. I'm just going to do whatever I was going to do anyway. That's how it works though, man. Like, that's how politics work. That's how speakers work. I mean, I don't know how people haven't realized this yet, that like every single speaker basically has the same 8 stories that they always tell, no matter what question you ask. That's how it works. And so, today we're talking about mentorship, business coaches, and courses. And like, really the question is, okay, I want to learn something. I want to get better. I know that having this extra accountability, having somebody who's been there before is going to be really impactful for me. And to me, it's not so much a question of where you spend your money. I think that's a very important decision. I think it's more a question of where you spend your time. And where right now, because money comes and goes, and you will often find over the years, you will get it back. But what you'll never get back is time. And if you can invest your time properly earlier on in your career, younger, then that will compound very, very quickly. And so I want to talk about kind of what to look for and when. And there's not one, it's not that one is better than the other. It's that one is better than the other for different things at different stages of your career. So the first thing that I'll talk about is mentorship. Somebody says, oh, I want a mentor. How do I find a mentor? Mm-hmm. Let me start with this. A mentor is not somebody that sends you a Facebook advertisement that tells you to fill out an application form and then hard sells you on a $10,000 or $5,000 program. That is not a mentor. A mentor is not somebody you pay. A mentor is somebody who you earn the right to take you on and be there for you. It is a very intense, very long, very personal relationship. It is somebody who deeply believes in you. And they're helping you because helping you fills them up. They're not helping you for money. In fact, mentors don't ask for money. That's not what mentorship is. Mm-hmm. How do you find a mentor? You don't find a mentor quickly, because the reality of it is anybody who really could be a mentor to you is probably not somebody who needs any, like there's this disconnect, right? Somebody who's really, really good at business and has a big business, it's simply not worth their time to spend a lot of time with you. Their time is better spent working on their business. So by definition, anybody that you can find to pay you, or to pay a few $1,000s, by definition, how they're running their business proves that they don't really have a big business that they're growing, because they're spending their time with you. Now, the exception with this is some business coaching programs, and I'll get to that in a little bit of kind of where that fits in.
Mm-hmm.
You find a mentor by building a relationship over time with somebody who, usually by supporting them over like years and by proving yourself. I'll never remember, he's a good friend and he's definitely given me some mentorship, but I wouldn't consider him like my mentor. But Eric Cressy, who a lot of people know in the sports performance world, he just took a job as the head athletic trainer, or not head athletic trainer, head strength conditioning coach or something like that for the Yankees. Like, I don't know if there's a bigger job in strength and conditioning than that.
Right.
And he came and spoke at one of our events. And he helps, promote the Online Trainer Academy, and he's been a big supporter of ours, and I keynoted his event, stuff like that. When he spoke, somebody asked him, basically like, how do you get Eric to speak at your event, or how do you get, Eric to spend time? He's just like, what you have to understand is that people who are in a position of authority are kind of there because they worked really hard for a lot of years, and they don't have a lot of time. And so they need to see you stick around for a while doing good work, which means you have to stick around for a long time. I asked Eric to speak at 4 events before he said yes. The 5th time he said yes to me. It had been 7 years that I've known him and had been supporting his work and building a relationship with him. And he's basically just like, I saw this kid come up in the game. I thought, oh, like he looks pretty good, but like, let's wait. No matter how good somebody is, if I've just heard of you, it doesn't matter, because I need to see that you're going to be around for a while. So a mentor is somebody who is a very deep relationship, and somebody who really, really deeply supports you, and that you have to stick around for a while. They're immensely valuable if you can find them. They don't have to be in the fitness industry. In fact, they often aren't. Now, a business coach is different. A business coach is somebody who you pay. Business coaches can be really beneficial. Business coaches often have pretty lackluster businesses themselves, and they run a business coaching program, which is kind of a disconnect. It doesn't mean that they necessarily can't help you, but a business coaching program is incredibly difficult to scale. And when you actually get in behind the scenes of these things, you find that there actually isn't much of a business there. And so it's funny that they're doling out business advice when they don't really have a big business. So you got to look at like what that person is kind of doing first off, and where they want to go. But they might have something that's going to be important for you to learn. And the money that you invest in them is probably going to be a good investment. The issue is business coaching, for the most part, in order for that person to be able to scale and build a business out of their business coaching, they actually have to build a curriculum around their business coaching, which means they kind of have to have a problem and a predetermined solution, which is great if you know exactly where you want to go. In our field at online training, it's great. It's like, if I know that I want to build this exact model for my online training business, then you find somebody who's mastered that model and you learn from them. But hiring a business coach is almost never your first step, simply because A, it's way more expensive than a course. And second, you probably don't know enough about your problem yet. You haven't spent enough time figuring out what that problem is, putting the context into place where you actually know who to hire. And in many cases, you hear about people saying, oh, I had a bad experience with a business coach. The reality of it is, I know a lot of these business coaches. The business coach themselves, I mean, there's basically, like, there basically aren't scams. It's like, oh, did you get scammed? It's like, there basically aren't scams on the internet. Like, there are some scams, but like in our field, everybody who's offering these services is not doing them thinking that they're scamming. And objectively, maybe they are. I mean, there's a couple examples of people that like ran away to another part of the world and don't refund people. But for the most part, they really think that they're offering a good service. The reason why people don't have a good experience with them is they should have never signed up for that service in the first place. Because that business coach teaches people a very specific model, i.e. a high ticket model, a lot of the time, that is simply not right. People simply aren't ready for it yet. Or it's not the right model for that person because of their personal situation. And so this is why I suggest that everybody starts with a course. And this is why Online Trainer Academy is level 1. It's not to say that a course is the end all, but I think it's in every single case the first step of your journey. Because if you start with a course that has a curriculum from people who have been there for a long time, where there's a lot of, like, there's over 40 experts that contributed to the Online Trainer Academy. We've been around for 8.5 years. We've helped over 30,000 people in 87 countries. Like, we can tell you all of the ins and outs of every single situation and every single model, and we will guide you to figuring out what the right model is for you. And we will do it in a much more cost-effective manner because it's structured as a course that's scalable. In addition, the way that courses are often structured is a scalable business model versus a coaching program that can't grow because they're basically offering a lot individually. And what a lot of business coaches find is they can't replicate themselves. They offer a ton to every single person when they start to become successful. And then once they become successful, everybody kind of falls by the wayside. And so I think that courses are great to start. I mean, this is why I structured my business with a course to start, because I think that it's where almost everybody needs to begin to gain the context, to understand the problem, to understand what they want to build, all of the options, so that they know what the next step is. Because in level 2 of the Online Trainer Academy, we do teach the high ticket model. We do teach people how to build a scalable premium offering. And we have a 2 phone call interview process where we turn away 50 to 60% of the people who apply. They don't, like, some people say no to us, right? That it's not right for them. But for the most part, we actually turn people away during that interview process, not because we don't think that we can help them. We probably could. But the model that we've built for our coaching is for a very specific type of person with a very specific problem with a very specific solution. And if that's right for you, you're going to thrive. And if that's not right for you, you're not. And so we don't accept people who aren't right for that. That's where the differences lie. You kind of have to look at where you are in your career, how many resources you have, and the nature of a course is something that, yeah, you can start cheaper, you can start with less risk, you can figure out what this thing is. And then once you know, maybe you progress on to a business coach that is a much more in-depth, probably intensive experience, and also much more expensive experience. You know, level 2 was considerably more expensive than level 1 with the Online Trainer Academy because we give you personal attention, much more personal attention than we do in level 1. And but it's also much more intensive. We push you through in 8 weeks versus level 1 where it's self-paced and you can do it however you want. That's why I structured my business that way, because that's what I feel like every single person, that's how every single person should take this stepwise progression to improving themselves, to furthering their career. The final thing, and the final note that I'll make before I let some of my contemporaries here speak, is with courses, put it this way, very few people are going to be online trainers for the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. How many retired personal trainers do you know? If you sign up for a business course or for a business coaching program, let's say, and that business coaching program gives you a very specific solution to a very specific problem, they don't actually teach you a whole bunch of real skills that are transferable to take wherever you are. They're serving you for that specific thing, which is great while you're in that specific thing. And maybe there's some stuff that you can take with you later on, but probably not that much. What we do with the Online Trainer Academy level 1 is what we're actually doing is we're training you to thrive whatever you do. We're giving you those skills. We're building out those decision-making skills. We're building out those sales skills, those marketing skills. those are transferable into whatever you're doing. And then you can always go back as you have lifetime access. We have people who are magicians, we have guitar players, we have real estate agents who might have started in the fitness industry. Some of them haven't even, they've just taken it because it was the best training and they don't have training like that in their industry. But they still go back. I mean, tons of gym owners have never done online. I mean, most of them have now, but have never done online and still go back to the Online Trainer Academy because it's the best sales and marketing and business development program that they found. It will help you thrive whatever you do. A business coach for online training will help you thrive as an online trainer in the best of circumstances, which is great, but it will serve you less if you ever decide to do anything outside of online training, which odds are at one point in your life, you're going to do something other than online training. And I'm really proud that as a company, we've kind of built that in to support you in your life and help you thrive in whatever you're doing, whether it's for the stated goal of online training or not.
Right. That's significant though. The business coaches are running rampant since COVID. Like,
Yeah.
There's blood in the water. They smell it.
Let me, yeah, right.
Smell the blood. COVID chummed the waters for the sharks.
It really did. That's such an appropriate analogy though, because the great whites are circling. I got an Instagram request this morning from a business coach whose profile picture was an animation of Hello Kitty, and I'm like,
wow,
and now obviously I enjoy Hello Kitty as much as the next heterosexual 46-year-old African American male, but within reason. I'm not a super fan or anything, but I get down with Hello Kitty every once in a while. But I'm just thinking, like, man, these people have no reference point for what they're offering. They're literally casting a wide Hello Kitty net, and just whoever falls for it.
I have friends of mine, I'll put it in air quotes that nobody can see because this is a podcast.
It is.
I have friends of mine who solicit me on Facebook and LinkedIn because it ain't them. They don't give a shit who you are. They're just, like you said, casting a wide net. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the worst thing is it's coming from their account. Like, we have a rule in my company where, I mean, I've got like 4 email accounts, like, and I don't really answer them. That's God, I hate myself for saying that. But, we've got customer service and then my assistant and stuff like that answers almost all emails that come from me. But I have a rule that anytime somebody is speaking from my account, they call out who they are. Mm-hmm. Hey, this is Bobby. I got to your email first before John, and I thought that you'd appreciate a faster response.
Right.
I'm sorry, man. If you're having somebody else send a message under your name and making it seem like it's coming from you, you're a dick.
Yeah.
Like, that is just, it is so clearly purposefully dishonest.
Yeah.
Right.
And it feels disrespectful too, right?
It's completely disrespectful. I just messaged back, hey, tell this person I say hi. Because, like, they know who I am. Like, we respect each other. I mean, less now that I got that message from whoever was sending me the message. But, like, we respect each other. And I mean, by and large, and a lot of times I think that they do pretty good work. But it's just this like, they don't care about, maybe they care about you, but their marketing doesn't show it. Mm-hmm. And if you don't like how you're being marketed to, you really won't like what they're teaching you to do.
Exactly. It's yucky.
Relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody is being deceptive to you when they're marketing to you,
right,
it's a big red flag, man.
Yep. Right. You haven't even started and it's already kind of like deceitful. Yuck.
Kettle, do you get the business coaching emails or the Facebook requests?
Oh my gosh, yes, I do, and I just ignore them. I never reply. I never engage because I don't have the time for it, and I find it so annoying. It's annoying.
I'm almost sad to say that that USP is like an anti-business USP for me. Like
What's
when I get a friend request and it says I help coaches achieve, I'm like click. Like I didn't even want to read the rest of it. It's just an anti thing for me, and it's so spammy.
Well, think about what we teach people. I mean, the core of what we do and everything we teach in the Online Trainer Academy in level 1 and level 2 is you don't reach out to people cold.
Right.
They know who you are. They follow your stuff, or they've interacted with you in some way. You've attracted them in some way first.
Absolutely.
And either they reach out to you or you reach out to them. If you've never heard of a person in our field, which is as small as what it is, and this person is reaching out to you saying that they have all of these successes and that they've done all these things, and then you Google them and you can't find anything about that person, what in the world do they have to teach you beyond just some basic, probably conversion sales scripts that they lifted off of the internet somewhere or learned from a sales coach that they hired?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that stuff is not really that valuable. And what's valuable is learning how to purposefully and efficiently create a reputation that precedes you.
Exactly.
And then learning how to take that and run with it, and obviously sell and convert with it, and systematically build up your business, step by step, versus, I can make all your dreams come true. But I mean, obviously everybody thinks that, the cold outreach is ridiculous. We could talk about that and poke fun at it and make fun of it. But I think anybody who has that happen, like, I guess it works. I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I don't see the same names who are doing that pop up for a very long period of time.
No.
I mean, I look at that for people who I build relationships with. Basically, if I haven't seen you for more than 2 years, I basically don't pay attention to what you do. And then the other piece of it, which is I think particularly important, is have they showcased any kind of skin in the game? And this is, again, like, if you don't have a website, if you don't have any assets, if you don't have any content that you've put out, or any real, like, I don't care if you have an Instagram account, like real stuff.
Right.
Like, how much have you actually committed to this? How much have you thought about this? I'll never forget Charles PD Bell was his nickname, from Arkansas. We asked him, we did like a bunch of phone calls with students. And I asked him why he enrolled into the Online Trainer Academy. And he just said, he's like, I didn't really know who you were. There were a bunch of people trying to, sell me that I could become an online trainer. He's like, but then I saw that you had a textbook about online training. And I just said to myself, ain't nobody going to go to that much trouble for some bullshit course.
Right.
Love it. That's a quotable there.
That's
so appropriate, though. Like, nobody's writing a complete textbook for a scam.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't happen.
You know what it takes to produce a textbook? First of all, you have to know enough to fill a textbook.
I hope to never know what it takes.
Works with enough people. But even to print a textbook. So you already have everything. You already have the years of research and development. Like I said, 40 plus experts who have contributed to this. You already have multiple levels of editing and design. We've had independent audits done by, the senior course developer at Yale University. You've already gone through all of that. You're ready to print. Okay. Well, now in order to print a textbook, even printing them 1,000 at a time, you're at $41 a book.
Sheesh.
So now we're spending $50,000 plus just to print the things before shipping them. You know how expensive it is to ship textbooks? So our cost of even 1,000, and we'll print them more than 1,000 at a time, but our cost even 1,000, we're about $100,000 in just for printing and distribution.
Yikes.
Ain't nobody gonna go to that much trouble
Right.
for some bullshit course, right?
Exactly.
It is too hard. It is too expensive. And when you look to people who you are thinking about learning from, I implore you, maybe it's not us. Maybe you've decided it's not us and you just enjoy this podcast, which is cool. But I implore you to look for indicators of skin in the game. Look for indicators of seriousness.
Yep. That
Don't take
put
what
their
they say at face
time.
value,
Yeah, they've done
because
the work.
a lot of things can be said. What have they done? What have they put out in the world? What have they committed to that they can't take back? What have they invested in? How do they show this? And what you will very quickly find is that in our field, there really isn't much else. I mean, there isn't another serious curriculum for online training. It simply doesn't exist. There are some digital platforms that are curriculums, and the people who teach them are good. But they don't have that level, they don't have that skin in the game. You know, you just kind of like put some videos up. Like, how good does something have to be if you know by virtue, by exact nature of it, that you can change it on a moment's notice if you figure out a better way? You're not forced to be that good.
Right.
Well, if you're spending $100,000 to print textbooks that you're going to ship out all around the world, by its very definition, it is final the minute that it's printed, which forces a level of preparation and seriousness and expertness that you would never get with anything digital.
Yeah.
And then we mesh that, of course, because there's some things on the internet that are always privy to change. But most of the what you'll find as you do this is most of the fundamental foundational stuff never changes. But obviously technology changes and whatever it is. So the technology and stuff that changes, the way that we've designed our program is that stuff is in the OTA Success Center, is in our digital portal, and we update it as needed.
If I can expand, sorry, Ren, for interrupting you, but I before I lose my train of thought, if I can expand on what Jonathan is saying there, like I think another, because in the kind of like the first portion of what you were saying, John, you were explaining how kind of like the for most people, the best way to go about it is through a course. And that's kind of like the first step. You know, a course may prepare you then to have like a business coach or whatever. I think there's an additional step even before like the course, and that is like, have you done the work? Because there are so many incredible resources in the PTDC itself. Like I remember, Jonathan, before I ever met you, the first time that I heard your name, that somebody recommended you, I don't know even where, some forum, somewhere, I went to the PTDC and I read your entire website, your entire thing. It was back, like obviously the website was a lot smaller back then, but I read the entire thing. Like I scrolled back to each blog post because I was like, this is good information and this can get me started. And so by the time the OTA was created and it came out, I was more than ready to jump on board because your strategies were already working for me. Right. So even before, like if right now I can understand that financial constraint, for example, for some people it's like, I can't enroll in the OTA. Okay. Are you immersing yourself in all that the PTDC has put out over the years? Because for whatever question you may have, you can find an answer there. And if you're not doing that,
the problem.
Well, yeah. And if you haven't even done that if you haven't taken that responsibility on yourself, what makes you think that paying a high ticket business coach is going to change anything for you?
So here's what's interesting. Our team has just finished a half a year long, incredibly intensive customer insight research study. And it's based on the jobs to be done protocol, which is like, for anybody familiar with jobs to be done, like this is not an easy, like we hired statisticians, we had multiple team members for many, many months. I mean, it's an incredibly in-depth study. And what we came to was actually, you know, a few different basically types of people that enroll into OTA. And where it comes in really interesting is that the type of person that is in a position, this is why you don't do demographics. Like demographics doesn't really matter. Like doesn't really matter whether you're black or white or young or old. It doesn't really matter what job you're in, because what you will find when you actually go into it is people will buy your service or hire your job or whatever it is, hire you for a job. People will buy your service, buy your training, buy your workouts for a few very distinct reasons. And they might look and be totally different types of people, but the reason why they're hiring you is the same. And so one of the very specific types of people that, buy programs to become an online coach or to learn how to become online coaches are basically people escaping. They're in a job, usually not in the fitness industry, pharmacists, nurses, whatever it is, and they're incredibly unhappy and the pain is so strong and they just need to get out. And to be honest, they don't even really care about online training. They just need to get out of whatever they're doing.
Right.
And they don't do the research. They basically will sign up very quickly for whatever's out there. And what we are also seeing, and we don't have quite enough data to say this for sure yet, but what we're also seeing, because part of this research study is not just people who sign up for your program, but what types of people are successful with your program, and then what type of people, what's called fire you. What types of people basically aren't happy or refund or don't do well with what you have. And one of the things that is becoming more clear, like I said, we don't have enough data to show this for sure, is that the types of people who don't do as well with our program are those people that actually don't really care about fitness or online training or the fitness industry that much. They just need to get out and escape whatever they're doing. Well, there's another group. This other group of people where it's like, things aren't that bad, but they're looking at this as an improvement on what they're doing.
Right.
Maybe they own a gym. Maybe they work as a firefighter, or again, it could be a pharmacist, and they're not unhappy with what they're doing, but they kind of feel like they're destined for more. This idea of, I'm embarrassed at a party to tell people I'm a personal trainer because I feel like that doesn't quite describe just what I do. Those people dig in and do the research. And without fail, those people choose us. Like all of those people are just like, we looked at all the other options and there was just no question.
Right.
And those people do really, really well. And so the question then is like, it's the type of problem, which I think goes back to your point, Carolina, there of, to say do your research is great, and the people who are listening to this podcast are probably people in that second camp, people who like, it's really not that bad, they might not be happy, but they're not like, I gotta get out. There are people who are like, things can be better, and I'm pretty great at what I do, and I feel like I'm not getting the amount of respect or money or purpose out of what I'm doing. And that needs to change.
That makes total sense. That's remarkable research. What I realized is that first, Amber's our mentor. So thank you for taking us on, Amber. When John described what a mentor was specifically, I was like, oh my God, that's Amber. She's taking us. She's super busy. She doesn't really need us or want us around. But
definitely doesn't want us around.
Definitely doesn't want us around, but she educates us and takes us under her wing. But that's really so interesting. I see a track from what Jonathan's saying, and I could be wrong, Jonathan, please correct me. I know you will, because you're always politely obstructive. No, that's not right at all, Ren. Sorry. But, sort of the track is, probably course, and then post-course, maybe business coach, because you have some areas specific intent with your business after you've done a course. And then if you're fortunate, if you're doing the work, if you're good at relationship building, skill building, doing good things in the industry, perhaps a mentor will present themselves to you.
Yes.
Something similar to a Jedi will present themselves to you, a Jedi mayor, something like that. And that will be someone who's not specifically looking to gain something so much as they are looking to sort of level up someone that they are consciously aware of who's doing the work
Right.
who honors they're honoring the industry.
The highest level of Maslow's hierarchy, right, is legacy.
Right.
So when somebody gets to the point where they have money, you know, they kind of figured out this life thing.
Right.
Legacy is next. And legacy is like, who can I bring up, right? How can I? So it's kind of that. No, I mean, 100%, Ren. You laid out the track beautifully. What I'll finish off kind of everything I'm saying by summing it up like this. Hiring a business coach as your first development source is an incredibly expensive, inefficient way to get to where you're going. Because you're going to pay them a lot of money for stuff you can get much cheaper and quicker.
Mm-hmm.
But business coaches are really, really handy when you say, I know exactly where I want to go. In order to get there, I need these 10 things. I got 8 of them. I have 2 gaps in my knowledge. And that's when you hire a coach. That's when I hire coaches. That's when our company hires outside consultants.
Makes sense.
We don't hire a consultant and say, tell me what to do. Right. We say, we're here. We're trying to get here. We're already doing this, and this. Although this part could probably get a little bit better. I don't feel that comfortable with this. And you know, I really don't know much about that. And I feel like that's the missing element. You hire somebody then who comes in and helps you with that. I mean, I just did an interview in our OTA alumni group with Marc-Andre Sears, one of our OTA 2 students, who for the last 4 months has done, I think, 35K, 26K, 41K, and then 40K this month, just like consistently, right? And
nice.
Before he started level 2 of the Online Trainer Academy, he wasn't doing anywhere close to that. And we actually changed almost nothing for him. It's the same leads. It's the same clients. He has the same promotional channels. He has like no online presence, by the way. He uses Facebook, like his personal page, organic. The only thing that he needed was he needed to level up in his sales and conversions. And once he leveled up in his sales and conversions, everything increased, right? So if he hired somebody and was just like, tell me what to do, it wouldn't have served him. He was at that level where a business coach just catapulted him, because we were able to sit down with him and just say, okay, we got to level up your sales and conversions. Mm-hmm. So that's the difference. You use a course to get to that point. It will be quicker. It's always more cost effective. There's much less risk. And then when you get to the point where you're like, there's a couple areas of opportunity or a couple gaps in my knowledge, then you go find that person or that company that is specific around that one gap in your knowledge to fill in that gap for you. And that's a systematic process.
I love it. Amber, how we doing? Are we done? Is this an episode?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to end. And I have to say, you very beautifully wrapped all of that up. I'm quite impressed with that.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
I
feel like this was John's rant episode. I feel I'm gonna sleep so well today. I feel like all of these
you released everything that you needed to say.
This is why we have a podcast.
Jonathan,
get this.
It's our therapy. I get paid for this, and this is my therapy.
Get this off of his chest.
He's purged his demons for you here today, folks.
Oh my goodness! I'm gonna get home at the end of the night and ride my bike home and just collapse on the couch. She's like, "How's your day?" I was like,
we have exorcised the demons. That's episode 13. Lucky episode 13 just went down. You heard it here first, folks. Great episode. I learned so much this episode. Like, I get quiet because Jonathan starts to say things and then they make sense, and I'm like, I should listen and not zone out like I did episode 1 through 4. So I'm really becoming a student of what he's doing here. And we'll see you at episode 14. That's how numbers work. Amber, is it time for the jingle? Jingle. All right,
jingle, baby.
Jingle. This is the Online Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show. We shouldn't have a podcast.